Well, good afternoon. Chris, how are you? Hey, guys. Thank you very much. Chris, you anticipate my every need. Thank you. I hope you're... Hey, how are you? There's Warren. Hello, Warren. Adam the Machinist, welcome aboard, sir. Hey, Adam, do you want to? Are you on the road? Can you guest? Can you guest today? No pressure. No pressure. Well, welcome. Busy morning in the shop, but I got everything done that I wanted to get done, and I might take the rest of the day off. Just chill out. We shall see. The Okamoto grinder has been, you can pop in. Okay, we'll bring you in the second half, whatever that means. I don't know what that means, but in a bit. The Okamoto has been earning its keep this week. Doing a great job. And my day job's been keeping me busy too, so it's been a crazy week. Welcome. So this morning, well, yesterday I finished up 6 sets of 6-inch stones that came out glorious. Hey, Bart, welcome aboard. Dan, welcome aboard. So the 6-inch stones are in stock, and I got to get some shipments out tomorrow when the post office opens. And then this morning, I just had to finish up 4-inch stones, and they went beautifully. So they're all done. Went downstairs, lasered them up, and got them packaged up and ready to go. So there's only one size of PFG stones right now that I do not have in stock. So naturally, I should get an order any minute now for 4-inch round stones. And so here's a question for the hive mind. The 4-inch rounds in silicon carbide are not very popular, and they really ought to be, because people are using them out of the box as table stones and vice stones, and I've checked them, and they're not great. So I may be doing some sort of promotion or something on the 4-inch round silicon carbides. If anybody has any ideas about that, I'd be happy to hear your opinion. Your opinion counts. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. In other news, I just got off the phone with my artistic advisor. Not the phone, you know what I mean, but the FaceTime. And we're going to have new T-shirts available probably by the end of the day. It's the artwork is going to be pretty much the same as the old T-shirts, but it's a heavier fabric. I like the heavier T-shirts. So we're going to have the lightweight T-shirts and the heavyweight T-shirts, and they should be ready by the end of the day. We'll see what happens. But I'm excited about that because I need a couple. So we'll let you know how that goes. So that's the new T-shirt thing. There'll be a slight change in T-shirt prices, but nothing drastic. We're going to take a small markup on them, because that's not where we make our money. So T-shirts are coming. That was the first bit of news. I have not made any significant progress on beveled stones, and I know there's demand out there. I get emails pretty regularly. Getting there. I need a little time to get the programming sorted out. I think I've got the work holding sorted out. So it's kind of in stasis right now, but we're going to get there pretty soon. It is a is a whole new setup, a whole new process, and we got to figure out how to price it. I'm not sure how to price it yet. Welcome aboard, everyone. So I just wanted to give you a quick Bevel update, which is to say there's no update. Let's see. We had a discussion earlier about solar panels, and I wanted to talk to you guys about a little bit about solar panels. One of our crew and I were texting and talking about solar panels a little bit, and as you know, I've got solar panels up top, and in fact today is going to be probably a record-setting day for the season, at least for solar energy, because it's very cold out, which is good for solar panels, and it's very sunny out, which is good for solar panels, and the sun angle is coming up, so we're going to have a really good solar production day. But one of the questions that came up was about, should I put in storage, basically batteries, in a solar panel system? And when we looked at and designed our system, that was a major economic driver because it was expensive to put in the batteries. And it turns out that the return on investment is poor in my situation. So I know there's parts of the country where when you're buying power from the grid, hey Spencer, Tool and Grind, hey Barker, in some parts of the country you pay a different rate on electricity at different times of the day. So having storage on a solar electric system is very valuable because, you know, you could store energy during the day, use it at night when the rates go up. In other words, they don't want you using energy at peak times, they want you using energy at off-peak times. But around here, that's not the case. So there's little incentive to do that. The other thing was the advantage of having batteries for backup when you lose the mains. So if we lost power, we could basically be a giant UPS for the house. Well, we have a generator, and when we look at the statistics of how often that we need our generator, it's just not worth it. So Warren correctly points out that he has a friend who is off-grid and batteries are a must. Absolutely. That's another very good case where you have to have batteries is if you're completely off the grid. So for my application, the heat just came on if it got noisy. I actually shut down the grinder so it's a little quieter, mostly from fans, right? So in my situation, I decided it wasn't worth it. And we don't have batteries. We're a grid-tied system. So we make it, it's kind of a joke around here. When the sun's up, we try to do things that use a lot of electricity because now we're getting the best bang for our buck. The other thing you should know about solar systems is that when you make solar grid-tied systems, is that when you make energy and push it onto the grid, you get credited for that energy at wholesale, but when you pull energy in from the grid, you pay for it at retail. So it really is worth using the energy you generate when you're generating it, and there's a little benefit to that. So that's sort of the funny thing. I come out and make stones when the sun shines, as the old saying goes. So that was our calculation. Now your calculation might be different. You know, if you live in, I think California has some areas that have different rates of electricity for different times of day, and you got the fancier metering systems. You may have justification for putting batteries in, and the batteries are wear items. They don't last forever, so and you can make the argument that the solar panels also don't last forever. But anyway, those are the economics of it, and you really have to do the spreadsheet and take a look at it. Now, We use a company here that we bought our system from called Revision Energy, and they're fantastic. We really like them. So we bought everything. They did all the calculations and simulations about how much energy we would make, and the numbers have been dead on. Really, really good. I think we took down 8 trees on their recommendations, specific trees, after they surveyed our site, and that was also just awesome. So if you have the opportunity to put in solar electric, do it. I believe it's the way that every single house in the future is going to be built. Just like you ask, what kind of shingles are you going to put up? Today, somebody's going to, ask, what kind of solar panels are you putting up? It's not going to be if, it's going to be what kind. So a little bit of commentary on the solar electric situation that came out of a conversation from earlier this week. And if anybody has any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer it. But we're on track for paying back our system costs right on schedule, which I think was 8 years, and we're well down that road. So anyway, that's the story. In other news, I have made some. Oh, here's Conjette. Hey, Conjette, if you have any specific announcements about the T-shirts, let me know. But otherwise, I've already told everybody that the new T-shirts are coming, and that they'll probably be ready by the end of the day, thereabouts. So there's some keyboard jockeying that has to be done before they're live on the store, and we'll put up a post. So Conjette, if I need to say anything else, you let me know. So the guys that are just joining us, we're getting a slug of people coming in. We just had a little discussion about solar energy, solar electric, that you might have missed. Yeah, they do, don't they? Yeah, Conjette says she's working on the new tees right now. Let's see. Gear World Technology, welcome aboard. So, yeah, if you just joined us, you missed the solar electric discussion a little bit. Not much of a discussion, kind of a expose. But we are generating a lot of solar right now. So in other news, in Kinetic Precision news, I've been working a little bit more on the balancing stand design. That's coming along. And in order to do more research on how I'm going to teach balancing, which is going to be a little bit unconventional, I bought myself the Okamoto balancing stand. So the funny thing is when I bought my grinder, I had the opportunity to buy the balancing stand. So the cost of the balancing stand at the time I ordered the grinder was about $2,000. It was pretty expensive. So I elected not to buy the Okamoto balancing stand at the time because I had my own balancing stand and I had my own balancing rings and I had my whole balancing procedure. But now that I want to teach balancing and sell my balancing stand, I decided I would get an Okamoto balancing stand in order to show another method. So the plan is that I'm going to be able to show the method on my balancing stand and on the Okamoto balancing stand using my balancing rings and not using my balancing rings, because one of my wheels, which came with the grinder, has the 3 balancing weights built into the hub, so I'll be able to show that. So we'll have a nice matrix of different equipment, including the stuff I sell, and how to balance with it. So that's coming. So I'm going to take you mobile right now, and let's go over to it's actually on the granite surface plate, and I'll show you the new Okamoto balancing stand. So I'm going to unplug you and take you for a walk. Okay, so here we're at the nicely covered up granite surface plate, and this is the Okamoto balancing stand that I just bought. Now, I just got this on eBay for about $775, I think. I think that was before shipping, and it's a really beautiful unit, and I really dig how it works and what its philosophy is. Of course, here's the prototype for the Kinetic Precision balancing stand, which is going to be a little different than you see, but the basic structure, the basic philosophy is the same. So the Okamoto balancing stand is actually pretty cool. It's 3 points of contact. There's a foot in the back and then 2 adjustable feet in the front. Okay. And then, very interestingly, there's a spirit level, and the spirit level, it's a bubble level, and it has this really cool little cover just to protect it when you're not using it to level the machine. So that's pretty cool. The way it works, there's a little stop here. You pull out the pin. This is actually a balance. Okay, this is a scale, essentially. So you have a pivot point, and the pivot points, hey, almost machining, the pivot points are right there, okay? And those are, very hard, very precisely turned pivots, and it's a V-groove with a smaller angle V in it, and I'm sure there's some little details in there that I'm not capturing. And then there's a weight here. This weight compensates for all of the weight of this frame that's below the pivot point. So this is actually the sensitivity setting for the system. I won't get into that right now. It's kind of deep. And then there's a nice long pointer, and then it comes down to the Okamoto logo. But the pointer is the balancing indication. And the only thing this thing is missing is a damper. Can you use the Anderson wheel type balancing stand to balance the wheels? I don't know if I'm familiar with the Anderson wheel type balancing stands. So, is that the one with the 2 large wheels on each side? I think it is. Is that the one, Warren? I'll wait for your answer, then we'll keep on going. On this side, there's a fixed course adjustment weight. I'll talk about that in a second, Warren. I have a comment on that. So there's a coarse adjustment weight on one end, and then there's a fine adjustment weight on the other end, and it is really fine. I'll tell you that. So and then there's the locking pin, so that when you're kind of getting things sorted out, you can get it so that things aren't flopping around. The next feature on this is you have an arbor. Okay, this is an arbor that I made because it came with an arbor for the big wheels. This is the Okamoto arbor it came with, and I needed one for the small wheels, so I made this. There's a lot to talk about on arbor making, but I'm not going to get into that now. And it sits in these grooves. Okay, so you okay? I'm just reading what Almost Machining sent, and I'm trying to process it while I'm talking, and I can't quite process all of it. Anyway, so the way it works is you put your wheel in, and then it literally gives you just a balance, like which side of the wheel is out of balance. Anyway, we're going to go into that, but it's a totally different philosophy of how to balance the wheel. It's quite nice. It's a nice system, and it's beautiful castings, and it's a lovely design. It's also very expensive. And And as you know, as you've probably seen me do before, this system is a rolling balancer, right? So the wheel balances, and then you get information from the rolling of the wheel that tells you where the out of balance condition is. And in either case, you have to do something about it, which is to use either the Kinetic Precision balancing ring or the weights built into the hub. But anyway, the purpose of this is just to show you this pretty cool balancer. So my plan is to produce a video which is going to show this balancer, that balancer, and maybe we'll have a third party. But I think that's sufficiently complicated to get the job done. Now, so Warren asked the question, can you use the so-called Anderson style balancing jigs? So the Anderson style is, it looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, Warren, it's like an A-frame and an A-frame, and at the top of each A-frame is a big disc, two big discs next to each other, and they kind of form a little groove between the two discs, and they're on really good bearings, and that's on each side, and you put your arbor across those things, and the wheel doesn't move. It just is able to spin, and that's used to balance a lot of things. Like, I think they call it, there's a generic name for it. But if you'll notice on my balancing stand, you see those holes right there? Yeah, okay, Warren. Warren says I got it right. Well, my original design basically was that. It was the two bearings. I started there, right? So I've been through that generation. The problem with that is the bearings are super special in order to get it to work well. So I'm taking a different approach from a cost perspective. But surprisingly, I'm getting more sensitivity out of this balancer than I am out of this balancer. That's very interesting, okay? And we'll get into that later as the design gets finished and I start basically teaching how to use this guy. There's some non-obvious ways of using this balancer that really improve the ability to balance. So can you use that? Yes. The sensitivity, especially for smaller wheels, the sensitivity is maybe not quite as good. But yes, you can use it. And if you have 12-inch wheels, that's probably a good way to do it. This guy will do the big wheels, and that's what it's for. For us small shop guys that are doing 8-inch wheels, this will do 8-inch wheels all day long. So that's the story about my recent purchase on this Okamoto balancer and what's coming as far as the balancing stands are concerned. No, thank you, Warren. Thanks for filling me in. So there you go. If you guys have any questions on balancing, we could probably address that. But that's the news in balancing today. And just to clarify, if you're new, the balancing stand that you saw with the KP logo on it is the prototype for the balancing stand, which I'll be offering for sale soon in the KP store, and it goes with the currently available balancing rings, which are in the store. These are called the B200 balancing rings, and these are designed to go on the Sopco hubs, but may fit other hubs. So, for example, there's a Sopco hub, and the Kinetic Precision balancing ring goes on this little boss here. So this is on the type 0100, 0200, and 0300 Sopco hubs, which is an extremely common hub. So if you check the website, it gives you all the details to figure out if this fits your grinder. But what I found in the development of the balancing ring and the balancer is that there's the method of how you balance is probably the most important thing that I'm going to be bringing to the table, and I'm still formulating how to organize that and how to teach it. Flood City Tooling says, how can I order more hubs? Do I need to call them? You're talking about, this is a hub. they call it an adapter. I call it a hub. That's an adapter. That's a balancing ring. Are you talking about these guys? I think you are. I'm waiting for your answer. So the hubs or the adapters are available from McMaster-Carr. I think I just bought a I did just buy a brandy dandy new one from McMaster-Carr. I'll show it to you. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. So yeah, there's the box. It's a Sopco. And if you do a search on McMaster-Carr, oh, you mean you looked at the Sopco site? Yeah, don't go to the Sopco site. Go to McMaster-Carr and just type in grinding wheel adapters, and you'll find it. If you can't find it, I'll get you the part numbers. I should probably put that on the website. Thank you. I'm going to take that as homework. The hub part numbers to the KP site. I'll put that on PFG on rin.gg on the ring balancing ring info page. How's that? Will that help you? Yeah, they're on McMaster. Okay, so this is an 0100. This is a little. I don't want to take it out of the plastic because it's all covered in goo, but this is a little longer. See a little tiny difference there? It's a little longer for the fatter wheels because I got some 3/4 inch wheels, and this is the 0200, which is good for the half to 3/4, and then there's an 0300, which is for the really skinny wheels. So there's 3 different sizes of these. But again, I buy them from McMaster-Carr, and they're awesome. So we will put the actual Sopco part numbers and the McMaster-Carr part numbers on the product info page for the balancing rings. And I do have some new balancing ring ideas, but they're lower priority right now, so they will come later. Okay, so that's the story. That's an update on balancing. And I have to tell you, the procedure that I've been using has been, if I'm putting a new wheel on the grinder as it comes out of the drawer, I mean literally, right? I did this one yesterday. As it comes out of the drawer, it goes right on the balancing stand. First thing, it gets balanced. Then it goes on the machine, it gets trued, and then it gets used. So every time. And I've been extremely happy with the results. So if it's fast and easy, you'll do it. If it's long and complicated, you won't do it. So my goal here is to teach a method and make available the equipment so that balancing is fast and easy, and you do it every time before you put it on the machine, and the result in your work is beautiful. And I made a point last week, which I'll reiterate, which is, if you don't own PFG Stones, you can't, and you're not stoning your work. You're probably like thinking, it's fine, it looks great. But as soon as you start using the stones and you start seeing wheel hop, you start getting very tuned in to the issues of balancing. And if you're sharpening an axe, who cares? But if you're doing precision work, it's good to get the most out of it. Okay, speaking of precision work, hey Adam, let me know if you're ready, because I'll bring you in. Just a heads up, a program note. Next week, next Sunday, same bat time, same bat channel. Marvin Grobe of Karen is going to join us, and he's a super cool guy, and I think you'll enjoy it. But today, we have the, hey John, welcome aboard, neighbor. Oh, thank you. Well, hello to you, sir. I hope you're having an awesome day. The sun is shining. So, Adam the machinist is going to join us, and as usual, we don't know where this is going to go, so let's just do it. So stand by, Adam. Oh, you have to request. You have to request to join the live. There's a button there, and then once you request it, I can approve you. So in case you're wondering why I always double check and ask twice before doing this, is because we once approved somebody to join as a guest, and they weren't ready to be a guest, and I didn't know how to get rid of them, and it was uncomfortable. Okay, here we go. Did that work? Hey, there he is. Welcome aboard, Adam. How are you?
Hey, Spencer, how's it going? I'm doing well. Internet issues.
You know, you do what you got to do. Well, it's nice to see your face. Obviously, you're in the shop making money.
Trying. Yesterday I finished up a large order, and I was going to ship it out Monday. Pretty excited about that. And then this morning in my inbox was a revision request for 3 of the 17 parts in that order. So trying to modify, but everything's in a hard. So lots of hard milling this morning.
So you're in the mill. Can you swing your camera?
Yeah, I'll jump over to the grinder later today. It's going to be chaotic.
Isn't it always the way? How do they know? How do they know you're about to take it to the shipper?
Just that's my luck. Always goes that way on these projects. I don't know how to work.
There you go. Oh, look at that.
Just had to put 3 M5s and then cut this entire section out of a A2 plate. It's actually too tall for the Moriseki, which is a superior hard milling machine. So I had to do it in the Haas.
And so how hard is that A2?
That part's 56 Rockwell, so that's not too bad. And then other part is actually P20, which is like a 4140 pre-hard, and I'm just going to have to put like a little slot in the top. And then this one, that's for a different project, but I'm going to hard cut it today as well. That's a motor mount. Yeah. These are also P20, and they're going to get some finished mill work up here.
Beautiful parts, Adam, as always. I did a little bit of hard turning. Well, not too hard. It's like 4140 pre-hard yesterday, and that went pretty well. I'm actually pretty amazed that you can turn the Rockwell C56 parts.
Well, remember, I do up to 90 Rockwell, so that's not too bad for me. Went over the grind shop a little quieter.
So one of these days, you're going to have to give us a little tutorial on hard milling, because that's just amazing. I know you have a magic machine, which is a stiff little bugger.
I do my stuff, but it's all just milling. I've stopped distinguishing between hard and soft. It's just milling. So different hardness. That's all. Nothing magical about hard milling. You just have to be a little more
Is it correct
cautious
to say that you never use coolant or when you're milling a harder material?
No, generally you don't. You got some thermal shocking on the tool. And what some people do is they'll mist air oil. And so you get little oil droplets, which give you some lubricity and a gentle cooling effect. But you don't get that thermal shocking on the coating of the tool, which leads to premature failure. But yeah, no, it's almost all dry. Plus, it's a lot of sparks and I run oil, so to run my version of coolant on it would
a
be
little,
a
a little
combustible.
combustible. I don't think I ever used the word a little in front of the word combustible.
Yeah, so I do that dry, which means the air compressor runs relentlessly, and
Yeah.
I just have to
What do you
stop
do
listening to
for compressed air right now? Oh, okay.
that. I have
Yeah.
a Kaiser air tower, but it is, I mean, when you have a 380 square foot shop, you really don't have anywhere to hide from it. So, you know, just in the corner, right next to the Haas, and
Yeah.
you just have to put up with noise
My
all day.
Kaiser is the little Kaiser, and it's down in the basement of the house. So it's not in here, but it is in there. So
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a really quiet air compressor, but
hey,
a
we
lot
have
of
a
noise
question
still
that came in for you.
around that.
It says, Adam, how much of the
Sure.
percentage in ability to mill such a hard material would you give to the machine properties / construction versus tooling used? So to say it another way is, what's the most important factor in being able to do the milling of hard materials?
The
Interesting.
tool path. I've used some pretty, what most people would consider non-appropriate end mills for hard milling, like just a standard bullnose cutter. You can actually get away with hard milling with if you program and have an appropriate tool path and speeds and feeds. Obviously, a stiffer machine, the better, but I think we can all agree that Haas's smallest, lightest mill probably isn't all that stiff. As long as you have an appropriate tool path, you can do a lot with that. Case in point, let me call out a tool. So a lot of the hard milling I do is on prismatic features, not like a 3D mold surface. And to pull that off, I use these cutters from Mitsubishi, which just have a replaceable blade on the bottom of the shank. And so you're only cutting like the bottom 1 millimeter with it, and it takes a very long time to generate a feature. But the result is you have extremely low cutting pressure because you have so little flute engagement, and that's how a machine as light duty as the Haas.
It also looks like that tool is very stiff because there's no flutes running up it.
Correct. And you have a solid core, you know, it's not fluted out literally, reducing the
That's pretty cool.
stiffness. So, but like even my standard solid carbide for hard milling, if you look at them, they're all very short flute lengths with a reduced neck, and that helps as well. Like you can see, it's only about 6 millimeters of flute. So very, very seldom do I use an end mill like this where it's full length flute.
So when you go into mill on a very hard material, would it be correct to say that let me put it a different way. Sometimes when we go into mill and we try to take too fine of a cut, we end up rubbing and not really cutting, which if we're doing aluminum, no harm, no foul. But if you're working on a very hard material, I would imagine that could cause more problems. Do you?
Yeah, situation you want to avoid. It will kind of brittle the surface of the material you're cutting. And so like those holes I was thread cutting, you don't really want to go back in and chase the hole open another thou. That could be really rough on thread mill tool life. And so you want to have some way of measuring tool diameter before you enter the cut, because if you thread mill a hole and it doesn't quite go gauge and you have to go in and take another thou and then another thou, you greatly reduce the lifespan of that tool by taking those whisper passes out. And so yeah, you try to
get in, get out.
First go.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
If anybody has a question for Adam, you could pop it in the question box here, and we'll see if we can't get something going. So you're still on track to make your Monday shipment?
Might be a Tuesday. No big deal, but I like the end of the month as like a gate, so to speak, to get jobs out of the shop. It kind of keeps me on track personally. I don't think the customer's too worried. They have a multi-year timeline on this, so a couple days isn't going to stress them out. But
so one of the guys asks, thread mill, full depth in one pass?
No. Same deal as the milling cutter. You start at the top, and you're going down one pitch at a time.
I think what he means is, do you go full depth?
Oh, on radial.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're going down with a single point thread mill. Okay, and you do it once.
MO4.
Okay, I think that was the question,
yep,
and I think that was the answer. Excellent.
That's an Allied product. That is that guy. You can see the threads are backwards, or the flutes are backwards.
Pretty cool.
So
let's see. Another question popped in.
Yep.
Bart asks, what inserts do you use for hard turning?
I don't turn.
That was easy. There you go. So
mills and grinders.
Question asked and answered. We'll cover. So next week we're going to have Marv Grow on, and I'm sure he'll be happy to talk about materials also. But he also doesn't turn. He's only a mill guy. That's pretty funny. Let's see. Somebody had, who was it that had a? No, that wasn't hard turning. That was soft steel. Somebody talked about inserts on Instagram this week, but that was soft. That was soft stuff. Well, pretty cool. What else do we need to know? Oh, could you show your other machine, your other mill? Just give us a quick eyeball full of that. That's a super special machine, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's the Morisaki. Not currently powered up, but it is a hard milling mill, and this magnet is actually bigger than the travels. It's got 150 millimeter square travel, and that's HSK 32 taper, and that is I believe, 0.5 millimeter end mill in there right now. That was from the last job I did on it, which was in copper, and there's still a little copper on the magnet from that. But yeah, not a very big machine, but 40,000 RPM spindle, and it usually runs about 50 hours a week. So I don't like turning it on for one or two jobs. Yep. It has a pretty lengthy warm-up procedure, and if I'm just doing some Sunday work.
So Brent asks, did he say he machines 90 RC? Yeah, tungsten carbide. Actually, I keep the first piece of tungsten carbide I ever machined around. There's a broken end mill I grabbed. I got a demo union tool cutter, and I just put a little 3D profile on it real quick. That's so cool. But yeah. So we do that. When I started doing that years ago, I was using Union Tool, which does a diamond-coated carbide tool. But recently, I've been more and more using the 6G tool, which is a piece of PVD diamond or PCD diamond raised onto a carbide shank, and you get tremendous tool life. And on top of that, they have a lot more flutes because
they don't have to worry about thick coating. They can get these really, really tight flute spacings. Like the 2 millimeter, I think, has 15 flutes. So it almost looks like a debris.
I bet they don't give those away.
They don't. So they're about $400 a cutter. So when I do the carbide milling, I have a very, very high hourly rate to justify that. But, sometimes it still makes sense for the customers versus sending it to RAM EDM. It's very specialized though, and sometimes I'm approached with projects and there's just not enough money in the part to make it make sense.
One of the guys is asking, when is the next Precision microcast?
We've actually recorded it, but Josh is now taking up the editing, and his Kerns due any day now, and so I think that's kind of sucking the air out of the room, so to speak. And
okay, well, we'll be patient. I know that everybody on this live listens to the Precision microcast, or should, and I know I'm looking forward to it.
I think the next one is about tool rooms and tool room. So Josh, he's starting to like tool room work more and more. So
pretty cool.
That's what we talked about.
Well, does anybody else have a question for Adam? Because he's on the clock here, people. All right. Well, unless something pops in, I'm going to say thanks for joining us today. Okay. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Adam. So that was Adam the Machinist. If you don't follow him, you should. Oh, you just missed him. We'll get him next week. Anyway, if you're just joining us because you follow Adam and you came over here, this is I'm Spencer Webb and with Kinetic Precision, and we do this every Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern, 18 Zulu, and we're trying to get into the habit of having a guest every week who is an expert and has something to teach us. So thanks to Adam for helping us out. So we usually go to about now, somewhere between now and the top of the hour, we wrap it up. So if anybody has any questions, put them in the question box or put them in the chat if you don't know what the question box is. Glad you enjoyed it, sir. Thank you. 5-star review. Nice. Appreciate it. In other recent news, we just got some of these new Norton SG wheels, which I think I've shown before, but I got the 3/4 inch wide for flat grinding, and I'm looking forward to getting that sorted out. Conjette reports that our new shirts are almost ready on the store, so we should be able to have those before your head hits the pillow tonight. And I think I'm out of news from Kinetic Precision. I'm going to go, I think, clean up after a couple of days of work in the shop. PFG Stones are in stock. Hey, Octane. Oh, we do have a question just popped in. Let's see. Ha! Okay, so can a Jones and Shipman surface grinder be wired up to run off single phase? So the short answer to that is, I believe the answer is no. Have you? Hey, Mary Tools, welcome aboard. I changed my T-shirt, so sorry. If your Jones and Shipman surface grinder has 3-phase motors in it, which 99% sure it does, you're going to need either a VFD or a converter. A VFD is basically a converter for one motor. It gets permanently wired to one motor. And they're awesome. And it isn't very expensive. So you're going to need to get a VFD, and it will give you some advantages. It will give you a soft start. It'll give you a soft shutdown. It'll give you protection, overcurrent protection. It'll do a whole bunch of things, and it will not cost a ton of money. So go look at the data plate on your motor. Take a picture of it, and it will tell you the horsepower. And then go get yourself an appropriately sized VFD for that horsepower, and you will not be sorry. I use Tico VFDs in about 3 different places here. Also, what's the last one that Adam just gave me? The other Adam. Commander. I forget the brand. But anyway, VFDs are the way to go. Let's see. We had another question. Alexander wants a shop tour. Maybe. May have to wait on that for the full shop tour. But I'll see what I could do. You were going to go find another 3-phase, but a VFD sounds the way to go. Yeah. So you know what? Let's do a quick combo of VFD, a VFD visit and shop tour. So let me take you down to the Bridgeport and show you what I'm talking about. So this is Commander SK. Thank you, Adam. Yeah, so the other VFD, I'll show you that too. So here's a quick VFD tour. So this is my Bridgeport, and I don't have the shaper, so I just put a plate on the back. And there is a Tico MA7200, Mike Alpha 7200, running the Bridgeport. Now, the reason I like this one is it's in I think they call this a NEMA 4 case, so it's pretty chip-proof. And that guy runs the Bridgeport. And then I just built this little control box, so I have a forward and reverse motor, and I have an e-stop. And then that just runs its logic signals over to the VFD, and then there's a power switch which feeds the VFD. This is a very hot setup. So you're getting your shop tour, dude. This is the Sharp VMC. Conjette says if I keep answering questions, Conjette may be able to get shirts done while we're live. So okay, great. So here's the Sharp, and you see the blue box in the corner right there? That's a 10 horsepower phase perfect converter. So this guy has a dedicated converter for him. It's not a VFD solution. Let's go over to another example. So continuing on the shop tour here. That's a Haas TL1, and the Haas TL1 has a VFD built in, which is pretty neat. So I think the Haas TL1 runs off of single phase. Yeah, Conjette, press on if you can do it. Then over here we have the Okamoto. Now the Okamoto runs on 3-phase. So if you come around the corner here, you'll see that we have a, this is very interesting. This is a 200 volt transformer. So it goes from either 460 or 230, and it converts to 200 volts AC 3-phase. And the reason that's important is that's 200 volts AC is what they have in Japan. So that's why the Okamoto requires 200 volts. So we have a converter here that goes 230 single phase to 230 3-phase, goes into the transformer 230 3-phase, comes out 200 3-phase, and it feeds the Okamoto. So that's the answer to that question. So I think I think you basically got the major machine tour. Any chance we get an opportunity to run a converter for a three-phase machine, we run the converter. But we do have two 10 horsepower phase converters. You've seen both of them. And then we use VFDs where we have to. Oh, I missed one of the VFDs. I'm not going back for it. But we have another VFD on the bandsaw. The bandsaw is a work in progress because we're switching over to its own VFD. So that was a lot of answers to a simple question. Gentleman who sent the request to be in my live video, I don't know who you are. So the answer is no. But thanks for being here. Let's see. I'm just checking to see if I missed any questions. Do you always warm lunch plates or just for Instagram? Oh, you mean, did you see the rack of trays? Is that what you're talking about? Funny guy. Okay. I'm trying to make sure I got all your questions. Yes, VFD, big fan of VFDs. Okay. No lunch plates on the stove. Oh, you mean the heat treating oven? No. You guys are way ahead of me. Okay, so look, it's 1:56. So we're going to wrap this up. If you guys want T-shirts, we really don't make any money from it. I think we make a tiny itty bitty margin. They will be up on the store today. Oh, here's a good question. Let me answer this question. This is going to be the last question for the day. Fad Radcater says, would you have one large converter versus several small ones? So that's a real question of planning. If I was planning a shop and I wired the shop for three-phase and put in one big converter, that'd be fine. I think I would go that way. The reason I have two converters, two 10 horsepower converters, is the first one was dedicated to the Sharp. Keep going, Conjette. We have faith in you. The first converter was dedicated to the Sharp, which is a 10 horsepower machine. When I got my first grinder, was a Harrig 612. The Harrig, I put a VFD on it, and that is owned by Ducky, who is, I think, in the chat today. And that worked out awesomely well. And the beauty of a VFD on a grinder is you can have a very slow wheel startup and a very slow wheel deceleration, which means you don't disturb the wheel on the hub. Because one of the big errors in putting hubs on wheels is not cranking down the nut hard enough. And if the wheel shifts on the hub, you're toast. You lost your true, you lost your balance. So the VFD is nice because it's a very slow ramp up. You know, the Okamoto, when I start that wheel up, it takes 30 seconds before it's up to speed. So there's very light acceleration on the wheel. So I put a VFD on the Harrig, then I sold the Harrig to Ducky, and then I bought the Brown and Sharp. The Brown and Sharp did not have it was three-phase, so I ended up finding, right around the same time frame, I found a second phase perfect converter that was a twin to my first one. So that converter went here in the grinding department, and it ran the oh, hang on, Conjette, just stand by. I'll add you in a second. it ran the Brown and Sharp the whole time I had the Brown and Sharp. And then when the Okamoto came in, the Okamoto had not only the converter, but now the Okamoto had its transformer. So it got kind of crazy over there. My plan is to stack the converter on top of the transformer just to save a little floor space. Haven't done that yet. It's in the queue. Okay, you ready, Conjette? I think I answered your question, Fed Radcator. Conjette says, hello. Let's see if this works. Please stand by for our art director, Conjette.
All right, let's see how this works. Forgive
You're live.
Forgive the fact that I am in fact in a college dorm room, and this is difficult. But hey, you can see my face. Hi, I'm the t-shirt person. So I figured that the best way to do t-shirts and have these happen live is if we come up with some funny descriptors in the description of the t-shirt listings together, because we have some pretty great ones already. So yeah, we have the polos are ready to go and the heavyweights are ready to go. So whichever ones you want, you have the final say. But hi, Felix. Some of my followers are joining. This is my dad. So if you guys haven't met my dad, that's my dad. He's great. We're working on making t-shirts.
So we usually wrap up around now, so we don't want to go too long.
Yeah, but if anybody's got any suggestions for funny t-shirt descriptors related to either machining or things lighting on fire,
you can send them to me.
Go for it.
And we'll take.
But yeah. So
did you get? Well, I don't know if we. You did everything. You did the Squarespace and everything. Yeah, I think so. Yep. What about ShipStation? ShipStation taken care of?
All right. As far as
push
I'm
the
aware,
button. If it doesn't work, we'll fix it later.
Connected.
Felix, we are artsonists.
All right. Felix is absolutely right.
An artsonist.
I am in fact an artsonist. Grind and burn shirts.
So
I love that.
Welcome to the very first Venn diagram where art intersects with grinding.
Is an hour of your time a billable expense?
Whose time?
I don't know either of us.
First rule of being self-employed,
all right.
Everything is billable.
Noted. Let's see. If you refresh your page on the KP store, you should see there are now 4 more shirts that you can go buy. We have light t-shirts, like light colored t-shirts. We have lightweight t-shirts. We have dark colored t-shirts, both polo and heavyweight. And they all say get flat, stay flat.
So you can get there.
So, you know.
The easy way to get there is go to pfg.gg, which is the PFG Stones info page, and then just go to the purchase link, and you'll see the new t-shirts. I'm excited because I need more t-shirts.
You always need more t-shirts. You have so many
t-shirts.
Thank you, Conjette. You always need more.
I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you for my friends who joined the live randomly just because I showed up.
Welcome all of you artistes.
Hi.
I mean, in the end, we're all artists, aren't we? I mean, aren't we?
And, well, I mean, it was your idea to have safety
and
flip-flops.
If you don't have safety flip-flops, you can get them on the Kinetic Precision store.
Safety flip-flops to throw at people's heads when they break OSHA violations.
Okay. So,
or whatever.
Wrap it? Did you do it? Okay. So
I think we can wrap it.
Good job. Thank you very much. I asked Conjette to do this like this morning, just before lunch. It was kind of like pulling the pin on a grenade and running. Thanks everybody for joining. We had a fun time. Thank you very much to Adam Demuth for joining us as our guest. He was awesome, and that was a lot of fun too. Next week, we have Marv Grow from Cairn joining us, and that should also be a good time. We don't know if he will be sober or not. I told him it's completely up to him. I mean, when you talk about precision machining, it's always up to the operator, isn't it? Isn't it? All right. Thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Bye-bye.